All right, we live. We're gonna go to our commercial. Y'all gonna see our commercial. Hello, hello,
It's y'all
hello.
last week.
Hey, so last week you got a repeat of one of our shows,
I think
and
it was a repeat of the show from the week before.
oh, it was, it
Because
was.
I couldn't even find the video for the show from the second. So
Oh yeah,
it was
yeah, yeah.
just a
That's
repeat of the last show in case you didn't see the one from the week before.
okay. Listen,
How y'all doing?
a lot has happened in 2 weeks.
Things be happening every day, huh?
Oh, listen, it's still Black History Month. All
Yeah,
right,
it
all
is.
about the Black people. We all about
I'm
y'all.
just wearing black and white. I don't have nothing
Oh, I
on.
have my shirt that says dream like Martin, lead like Harriet,
Oh, I
fight
like that
like
one.
Malcolm, think like Garvey, like
Right, like Maya.
build
Build like Madam C.D. Walker, speak like Frederick, educate like W.B. Du Bois, believe like Thurgood Marshall, and challenge like Rosa Parks. That's
all
what's
right.
up.
That's what's up.
That's a whole
Okay.
bunch of Black history on the front of that shirt.
Let me tell you something.
That's a history lesson. Y'all better check them names out.
You better check the names out, honey. I had told my co-host that I wore a shirt to Publix the other day, and it says unapologetically Black.
Ooh.
And I think I got you a shirt that says unapologetically Black too.
The one from Target, right?
Yes.
Yes. But Target slick because they only got black big. All the unapologetically part is kind of small. So they was like, yeah, we gonna do this Black history, but we ain't gonna do this Black history. So,
but it was a Black person who created the shirt. Remember it was from that line. So I was just doing my
no. I know. I'm all for the shirt. I wore the shirt. I done wore the shirt, so I'm not mad. But when I looked at it and you said it was from Target, I was like, I see what you're doing, Target. You like, yeah, we went to Black History, but we still got branding issues, and we still can't offend like too many of our customers by selling this Black shirt.
So I wore my unapologetically Black shirt, and it was big in big letters. And I went to Publix. I got a few stares, a few little looks or whatever. But no one said anything to me, not yet. So I get to the frozen section aisle, and
so no one said nothing until somebody said something.
Somebody said something. I get to the frozen section aisle, and this white man does a double take. He couldn't be no more than like 30s, in his 30s maybe. And he just does a double take. I'm like, okay, well, I've been getting double takes all day since I walked into the Publix. Then he comes up to me and he says, some people might find your shirt offensive.
Okay.
I said, so I laughed and I said, my race finds your whole race offensive. And I keep moving. Like, dude, I'm not forgot. Are we in a free country? Do we not have freedom of speech?
You know what I mean? I guess he said, I'm free to speak to you and tell you I don't like your shirt.
Maybe his freedom of speech.
But then you like free to offend you back. You know what I'm saying? So, hey.
I guess your freedom of speech only applies to them. It don't apply to us. But that's what I got. I got people questioning me about my shirt. Okay, so and it's Black History Month. Like, dude, really? That's what we're doing? Okay. Mm-hmm. So a lot to talk about. We got some great news the other day, or was it today or yesterday? Was it today with the murderers of Ahmaud Arbery?
I think that was today.
That was today. So they found them guilty of a hate crime.
Of course they did.
Although it's just the fact that we have to go through these and jump through these hoops is, I guess, bittersweet for me. That's the only thing. Mm-hmm. But I am happy and I'm pleased that their crime has set a precedence, because there is another one out in, I think, is it Alabama or Tennessee? I can't remember.
Was it Louisiana?
I think it was Louisiana. The young man who worked for, or I don't know if he still works for him, but for
FedEx.
Mm-hmm. Was delivering packages, and then it's a same father and son duo.
Well, not the same people, but it was also a father and son duo.
The same theme of the Ahmaud Arbery murder. The murderers of Ahmaud Arbery. I don't know if it's something that they considered it's okay for them to do, but this father and son white duo decided that they were going to block him, or he was driving, delivering packages. I'm not sure what happened in between that, but a gun was pulled out. They were shooting at him, blocking him from going and leaving the area. And these men weren't arrested till a week later.
Mm-hmm.
A week later. And the young man who was driving and working had a full FedEx uniform, by the way. But apparently, I think where the confusion is that he wasn't driving a FedEx truck. He was driving a Hertz truck that FedEx rented. But he was in full uniform. And I'm not sure if what they're saying there is that they were confused and they thought that he was coming to rob them or something like that.
So but I mean, even if he was coming to rob them, by the time he was already gone, when they were chasing him down and firing shots, trying to drive him off the road and was firing shots at him, he was no longer at anybody's house posing any threat of anything being taken. So.
Well, suffice it to say, these men, the gentleman was calling FedEx and told FedEx what was going on and said that he was going to go ahead and call the police. They told him, don't worry about it, we'll call the police tomorrow. He was like, nope, I'm calling the police today. And thank God he did call the police that day. And then
actually, remember when he called the police said, oh, we got a call about you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And he says, no, sir, I was doing my job. He's like, were you in the area? Because we were and he was like, no, I was doing my job and they were shooting at me. Anyway, long story short, this could have been a whole different conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Had they had their way, a whole different conversation. And the fact that so the gentleman was asked by FedEx, not asked. So after this incident, they wanted him to go back on the same route. And he said, no, I didn't want to go back on the same route. I'm afraid to go back on the same route. Do you know what?
Mind you, this was the people who shot at him had not been arrested yet.
Not had been arrested.
So that's why he didn't want to go back on the same route.
So
that's part of the reason why, yeah.
That's part of the reason. He did not want to go. FedEx was like, okay, well, you can stay on unpaid leave.
Unpaid.
FedEx.
Oh, but what happened when he went to go to the police station to report what happened? What did they say to him at the police station?
The young man?
Yeah, remember
he didn't go. He went the next day.
Oh, he went the next day to the police station. Oh, yes. Yeah. What they say when he went there the next day?
He went there the next day with somebody from FedEx who was either his manager or somebody. Went there and they were basically like, okay, so where did they shoot you at? And then he showed where the bullets were. They were like, okay, so we're gonna make a report. Like it was this nonchalant,
no sense of urgency.
No sense of urgency. No.
Okay, what did you do to make those guys shoot at you?
Like what happened? What were you doing?
What did you do?
Say? How did you approach them?
How were you behaving that made them feel as though they needed to shoot at you? Because it had to be because of something you did, sir.
It can't be. They just can't come out of the blue and just shoot you for no reason.
And shoot at you. You had to be doing something wrong. So what were you doing wrong to warrant these folks shooting at you?
There's no way you could have been doing. You could have just been doing your job. There was no sense of urgency with FedEx when he called them to tell them what was going on. They were like, all right, well, just bring the truck into the warehouse and we're gonna take a look at it. He was like, well, y'all not gonna call the cops? And they were like, well, we'll call it tomorrow. We need to just see. He was like, no, I'm calling the cops now. There was a bullet inside 3 packages. I mean, there was bullet holes in 3 packages. There was 3 bullets in the bumper, by the tire, and then I think in the back of the truck. So it wasn't like this young man was making this up. This could have been a whole different conversation. Mm-hmm. A whole different conversation. And the fact that these men were not arrested on the spot and they were given the opportunity to turn themselves in, I'm just I mean, we just got off of Ahmaud Arbery trials. We just got off of George.
Well, the federal trial was actually going on while this happened.
I mean,
I don't know either.
It's to me, it's almost like you know, we're out here, we protest, we come out, we advocate, we you know, we're upset, we recall, we send emails, we talk about the injustices and the disenfranchisement of Black people, and it's this proverbial like, okay, well, I mean, we'll look into it. Like there's no sense of, okay, this is unacceptable. We're not going to continue with this foolishness, and we're going to be making examples of every person who think that they can treat human beings this way. It's not even a sense of, there's no sense of that. So now Black people have to retain attorneys. They got to go sue cities. They got to go sue companies. They got to go sue police departments, all in the name of justice. I don't even know.
I don't know either. What do we do?
This is a great segue so we can get into this Joe Rogan foolery.
Oh, what he up to now?
So we got to give the people some insight on who this person is, because
what's the insight?
All I remember him was from Fear Factor. That's who I remember who he was.
You know, I didn't even. So someone had to remind me that he was a Fear Factor, because he looked a little different. He was a little slimmer than when he did Fear Factor. He's kind of thickened up a little bit. You know, that comes with age. We all kind of thicken up. At least I know I've thickened up since I was, you know, I was younger. So that kind of happened, but I didn't even realize that was him. I'm like, oh my God, that is the Fear Factor guy. So someone had to remind me that he was, and I think he had hair when he did Fear Factor.
He did.
And now he has a shaved head.
That's the only thing I remember of him, is that he was on Fear Factor. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
But this, I mean, are we allowed to say, we can't say slurs, right?
No, we're not going to use bad words.
Okay, all right. Well,
we don't need to be getting banned.
Use slurs either. Okay, all right.
No, we're not going to do that.
All right. So we're not going to do that. Okay, so you know, he has a podcast on, what is it?
On Spotify. Very popular.
Very,
I think he has like 11 million people that follows his podcast. So it's extremely popular.
Very popular. So he has a podcast on Spotify, and Spotify pays him handsomely, by the way.
100 million. And there's some word out that the deal with Spotify was really worth $200 million. Yeah, but
so you know, what precipitated this Joe Rogan foolery is that he was on there about you know, COVID, and
he brought somebody on that that spreads a lot of COVID misinformation. And the COVID, and people are just like, what the hell, dude? Like, what are you doing? But he had somebody on there that's known to spread like COVID misinformation.
So he had that person on, and that basically lit a match. lit a match. So people came for him for that. And then India Arie said, you know, we got bigger issues where this man is concerned.
She said, I don't know if she called them bigger. She said there's some other reasons why people should be mad at Joe Rogan. And she presented Exhibit A.
And Exhibit A was
him using the N-word way too many times and referring to places with Black people as Planet of the Apes.
So in some podcasts, he kept on using the word with a hard ER.
Yeah, and it wasn't one podcast where he used the word multiple times. It was like over a series of podcasts, and he used the word like more than once, like many a times.
It was over and over and over again. Okay, like so if you're in a conversation and you do it in one podcast, and that's the only one podcast, you know, I could be like, oh, all right, it depends on the context. Okay.
I mean, he said it was taken out of context. I don't know what that means.
She made a collage of the video of him using the N-word with a hard ER. Okay. Multiple podcasts. That's one thing. Second thing, he said, and we have videos, so you'll hear what he says. But I'm paraphrasing. He was going to the movies. He wanted to go see Planet of the Apes.
Predominantly black neighborhood.
Well, he didn't know he was going to a predominantly black neighborhood. What he said, hey, to the whoever was driving, I don't know if it was Uber or cab, is this area okay? The guy says who was driving him, yeah, this area is fine. He says, oh, the guy clearly don't speak any English. This is him, not my words, his words, okay? And he gets to the movie theater. When he gets to the movie theater, he says, I'm going to go see Planet of the Apes. When I get there, I'm in the Planet of the Apes. I quote and unquote, those are his exact words, and we have video so you can see it. To which he comes out with his apologies. And to me, you can tell me if I'm incorrect. If I did something wrong to you, Sandra, and I said, you know what, Sandra, I'm sorry, but this was not what my apology is this. Sandra, I'm sorry I hurt you. I'm sorry that made you feel that way. That was not my intentions to hurt you. I apologize. Do you forgive me? That's an apology. Mm-hmm. You can't say you're sorry and then say, but it was taken out of context.
Well, when you talk about the use of certain words, there's no out of context with those words, and that's part of what his mistake was. Like, you can't say yes, I said those words, but the video that was put together is taken out of context in which I used the word. That's not an apology. That's not an apology.
And then he proceeds to say that him saying he never said Planet of the Apes. He never called black people apes. He never said that he referred to black peoples as apes. But in the video, you all will see, he clearly says, I'm in the Planet of the Apes. And at the end, the very end, he's like, oh, that's racist. That sounds racist. That racist? Yeah, that sounds racist. So you're gonna have to make that make sense, Mr. Joe. You're gonna have to make that make sense, sir. For me, and I'm not gonna talk for Sandra because Sandra can talk for herself. But for me, I'm not looking for apologies. I'm looking for change behaviors, because, sir, that doesn't. You can't. There's nothing you can say, sir. Nothing at all. Period.
In this instance, action's gonna have to speak louder than words for me, and I'm gonna need you to put up some of that 100 million. I know Lil Haiti needs a community center. There's a couple of these communities where these alleged apes live may need some services, and you can kind of get back some of that money that you was making. And one of the things India I talked about was how, like, Spotify makes a lot of money by using black artists' intellectual property, right? Mm-hmm. And so they're using that money to pay him, like, give some of that money back to the community that you offended, but you profit.
I mean, if you
profit from that community, give some of that back in a meaningful way.
If you feel that you have done something, he ain't
got to feel it. He has done something.
Okay, no. What I'm saying, you're right. You were,
he can't. Even if you don't feel it or not, he did do something wrong.
And if you're sorry, then show us that you're sorry.
And don't show us. Let us tell you how you need to show us how you should apologize. Don't do it your way.
Exactly.
Let us be like, oh, you want to apologize, and you want us to be in a position where we would consider accepting your apologies. These are kind of things we need you to do. How about we tell you how you could offend us less or make some meaningful difference to the community.
So what I will tell you is that Mr. What is his name? What's the comedian's name again?
Which one?
The one that did the video on it, and he talked about it.
Trevor Noah.
Trevor Noah. Okay, so Trevor Noah made a video on his Instagram, which is what I'm going to give you all an opportunity to see right now.
Are you saying the whole thing or just the parts of it? Because it's long.
Yeah, it is long. I'm going to get to the parts. I want to get to the parts where he talked about the ape part.
Okay.
The Planet of the Apes. So I'm going to fast forward to that. Okay. Just so you all can hear. Oh, wait a minute. The thing is muted.
Right person to say, yeah. But he said that. That's literally what he said. If you said you walked into a black, he wasn't trying.
All right, hold on.
But it sure. But don't forget, there's also the story where Joe Rogan calls black people apes. And so for that part of the apology, Joe Rogan says this. I did not, nor would I ever say that black people are apes, but it sure fucking sounded like that. I was just saying there's a lot of black people there. But then I went on to talk about what a positive experience it was and how much fun it was to go to see this movie in a black neighborhood. It wasn't a racist story, but it sounded terrible. It's a fucking idiotic thing to say. And I was just trying to be entertaining. I certainly wasn't trying to be racist. And I certainly would never want to offend someone for entertainment with something as stupid as racism. All right, I'm not gonna lie. I have a few issues with this part of the video. First of all, he says he would never say black people are apes, but he said that. That's literally what he said. If you said you walked into a black place and it was Planet of the Apes, then you've said that. You said, you can't be like, oh no, I didn't say. You did say it, which is racist, right? And it's not just racist. Like let's be honest about it. It's not just racist. That's like OG racism. That's like the original old school, like that's on the Mount Rushmore of racism, you know? Black people are apes. It's right next to burning crosses and then like every Bugs Bunny cartoon from the 1940s. What I found particularly illuminating is when he says, I wasn't being racist, I was just being entertaining.
All right, so I'm gonna back up because I think the video is further back. Let me see. Because I just can't. Or is it towards the? I think it's towards the end. I need to make sure.
Most people is Joe Rogan into Planet of the Apes.
Okay, here it is.
Walk. Most people is Joe Rogan. And here's what Joe Rogan said about his joke when he said it. We walked into Planet of the Apes. We walked into Africa, dude. We walked in the door and there was no white people. There was no white people. Planet of the Apes didn't take place in Africa. That was a racist thing for you to say. Yeah, exactly. It is a racist thing for you to say. You're saying it's racist, but then in the video you're gonna be like, oh, it just wasn't racist. Joe Rogan said a racist thing and then immediately acknowledged that it was racist. Literally when he said it and then he's like, wow.
I don't see the video, but okay.
Oh no, you didn't see the video.
Done. Oh no, I saw the video, but I thought you were. I still heard it, but I wasn't watching.
Yeah,
I didn't see it.
I was taking it off.
Okay.
But yeah, he apologized for it. He says, I would never.
No, he didn't apologize. I don't know what he called that. That was not an apology.
To me, it's just a level of, he's more concerned about looking like a racist than dealing with what he said. He's like more concerned of the label of racist rather than dealing with, hey, you know what? That was just low. Like that's beyond the belt. Like he wasn't even concerned about that. He was concerned.
So a person can maybe have a racist moment and not necessarily be racist, period. So he should have at least been willing to be like, okay, you know what? In that moment, yeah, I might have done something that that's racist. That shouldn't define me. 100% of the, that shouldn't define me. And I have a record to show that I'm just not always that person. I made a joke in bad taste, whatever it is, right? But don't try to act like that wasn't a racist moment. And I think that's part of why he's continuing to have problems, because he won't at least acknowledge like, yo, I did something wrong in this moment. There's sometimes you do some stuff and you can't make no excuse for it. And even trying to explain it, yeah, you can't even really explain it either. So yeah, he should have just owned up to that moment and moved on. I think people would have been able to accept it more had he just owned up to that moment instead of trying to act like he ain't said, he ain't meant it, he ain't do it or whatever. So I guess he didn't know the video was out there.
I can't even make any excuses for him. Like I can't.
No, none should be made.
There's no excuses to be made. There's no, there's none of that. To me, it's just like, and you come, the thing is you can't, it's like you half-assing your apology or knowing that you did wrong and you're half-assing your accountability. Like you can't do that.
Yeah.
It's either you take it or you don't take it. Plain and simple. There's no, there's none of that. Somebody put down Joe Rogan has mental problems. No, I don't agree with that.
I mean, sometimes that might be the case, but we don't always want to dismiss bad behavior as mental illness, right? Because I have some very good friends who really do have mental illness, and they're complying with their medication and they doing what they're supposed to, and they don't make those kind of mistakes or say those kind of things. So it's quite possible that he could have some mental illness, but I don't necessarily know if what he did and the things that he said could be attributed to mental illness, because we do not want to diminish and take away from people who really do struggle very hard every day to be good and decent people. So I don't know if I want to just don't want to seem dismissive of it. If that's in fact the case, I hope he's dealing with that. But we don't want to say that that's the reason why he engaged in that type of conduct. At least I don't want to say that.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, because as of late, with a lot of people, when they're displaying bad behavior, one of the things I notice is that people come with this mental illness conversation. And again, you're right. I don't want to diminish that, because this is a real thing. It's now more than ever, because of the pandemic, is starting to expose the amount of people who are struggling with mental illness. And it's not something we want to take lightly. And we want to make sure those who do, in fact, have mental illness get the help that they need, but not at the expense.
And not every bad behavior is like, it's because of mental illness. No, there's a lot of people with mental illness that don't do those things or say those things.
And not every bad behavior is relegated to mental illness. Yeah. So personally, for me, doing some research, reading about Mr. Rogan, there was no indication of mental illness both prior to or during the times or even after his podcast. And so I can comfortably say I don't believe that.
I mean, he said he didn't say the word in years. So did he it was years that he didn't have mental illness, and he was still, and he didn't say he still had mental illness and wasn't using that word. So how is it that when you are using your word now, you want to blame it on your mental illness, right? Because you managed to not say it for a whole lot of years, and whatever mental illness you have, most of the time it's a condition that you have to live with daily. So I don't want to put that on mental illness.
But I'd like to mention that the reason why we're having this conversation, I think, is very important, because in the age of social media, and Spotify, Instagram, Pandora, Apple Music, all of these things are on social media platforms. They intermingle, they intersect. And that's basically what most people are getting their news from social media rather than regular news. So it's important that we have this conversation, because we want people to see, in more so Black people, that this is a very real thing that's continuing, and that it's important that we highlight, point out, call out any form of racism against our community and our people, and make clear that these things are not acceptable, and they will no longer be accepted, and not even no longer be accepted. We're no longer going to turn the other cheek. We have resources now. We have legislation. We have a whole bunch of things that are in our arsenals, and that is not okay, or not, that helps us not allow these type of things to go on. So it's very important that we highlight those things and point them out. Switching gears to Flores at the NFL. Okay, so I didn't personally watch the whole Super Bowl game. Okay,
I only watched the halftime show.
I watched the halftime show and the commercials. That's what I did. Watch the halftime show and the commercials. I personally wasn't paying attention to the game. I'm not really a football person. I'm more of a basketball person. And I think, co-host, you did not see the commercials.
No, I only watched the halftime show.
Okay, so the commercials was laced with Black people. Laced. Okay, I want to say most, if not all, of the commercials had 2 or 3 Black folk in it. And the halftime show was blackity black, 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 black.
Beyonce did the halftime show before, and she had a Black HBCU theme. So that's not the first time
No, it's not
halftime
the
show
first
was black.
time, but this is the time right after, you know, NFL's issue. Before the pregame show, pregame, there was a whole bunch of black people being presented. Like
I think Macy Grace did one, like the national anthem or something like that too.
There was it was quite a few. It was a whole production. Not sure if Jay-Z had anything to do with it, but it was a whole production. You know, you can see that NFL is really. I think the NFL was making it clear that they are opposite of what is being said about them.
Well, I don't know. They trying to act like they opposite of what was being said about them.
They were behaving.
They just making the case that what's being said about them is true. That's what they doing. I don't know if they trying to act like, oh no, we not that. No. Y'all proving that y'all is that. You know what I'm saying? And y'all trying to fix it. And I don't know if you're fixing it the right way. You know.
I personally thought they were doing too much.
Well, you know, so that's the thing. Like, is it too much, or you just trying to do some stuff but the things that they're doing ain't what nobody asked them to do, right? So what the lawsuit is asking is like, you need more people, more black folks in football, in like high level positions in football, coaches, coordinators, that kind of stuff. They don't need more entertainers during that, you know, for the halftime show. They don't need nobody. They ain't asking nobody to sing the national anthem. That's kind of what that people have been doing that already. Having more black people in commercials during the Super Bowl. I mean, I'm happy for those black people that got those jobs and got those commercials to air, but that ain't what it's about. It's like, no, we need y'all to give qualified individuals the same opportunity as everybody else for these higher level positions in NFL. So that's what's being asked. That's what they need to do.
NFL, what we asking you, we're not asking you to pacify us. That's not what we're asking for.
Yeah, no.
Well, no, we don't want pacification. What we're asking for, I'm asking for at least, and I'm being very, very this is like my bare minimum, you know, 5 owners, NFL owners. That's what I'm asking for black people, black NFL owners. That's what I'm asking for. And I'm saying I'm starting off with 5 because that's the minimum. That's the bare minimum I'm giving you. That's one thing. The second thing is this is going on. So there's an active lawsuit with Coach Flores. And so Coach Flores filed his lawsuit. We were all like, yeah, we supporting you. We're still supporting him in his quest to make sure NFL understand that they can't be going around here having 70% of the workforce black and then
the field workers.
It's true. It's the truth. He said, and I quote, Coach Flores said that
working in the field.
What did he say? Coach Flores says that the NFL runs like a plantation. Not my words, his words. But I do agree. So
the people in the field.
Listen. Listen, I'm just saying, okay. So you know, people are not too happy with our brother Flores now. You know, they said that he got.
Why they mad at Flores? Why they mad at Flores?
Well, you know, they not happy that his whole legal team is white.
Well, I don't know if they need to. I mean,
but look at what the NFL.
He could have hired. There's some very well qualified.
I would have appreciated some blood sprinkled up in there. I would have appreciated at least 3 or 4 brothers up in there, sprinkled up brothers or sisters up in there.
I mean, maybe they're part of the legal team. So the 2 individuals that you see like doing the media part of it, they're not the only lawyers working on that case. The case is too big and too complicated.
There was a picture on Instagram. I think I did keep it. There's a picture of 5 people in the law firm, like the 5 head people of the law firm, and they were all white.
Oh yeah, the partners could be all white, but that don't mean everybody working that firm is white. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that, you know, he could have picked another firm. I don't know why he didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? But it's not necessarily the case that everybody working on that legal team is white. It could be. I don't know. I ain't seen them.
I don't know. So
but all the partners could be white, and that's not unusual that all the partners in major firms are white.
some of the family not too happy with him about that. But then did you see the NFL response with their legal team?
Oh, the NFL is something else. They got an all-white firm too, but they just got there's a black person that's a very prominent black person that's part of that firm.
Is that the black person that they have on the team? Is that the lead counsel?
Well, so she may take the lead on that case. And we're talking about Loretta Lynch. She's the former Attorney General of the United States. She was appointed, I believe, under Obama when Eric Garner left. I think that's his name. Yeah, when he left his position as AG, she became the AG. And yeah. But someone told me that a friend of mine's, well, not for my brother, actually, I was talking to him about her. He said she also represented McDonald's. So she's a corporate attorney. She represents corporations. So it's not unusual that she would do that. I think she's, every now and then you kind of want people to stand on the right side of things. And I think she could have chosen not to do this, right? But again, she is a corporate attorney, and maybe, I kind of wish she didn't make that decision, but she does corporate law, and so
there's a couple of family
corporations.
There's a couple of, and when I say family members, I'm not saying my personal family members. I'm talking about the
people that are invited to the cookout.
Yes, the black community. Some of our family members don't like that she's doing that either.
All the people at the cookout ain't happy.
Some of the family was like, "Yeah, ma'am, I don't, ma'am. What are you doing?"
Yeah, when I saw it, I was like, "Ooh, for real though, you really gonna do this?"
I saw too.
But understand that the NFL don't want this case to go to court. No, this will be negotiated. They're gonna come to some decisions at the negotiating table. They don't want no trial on this. No, they're not sure. So she, so maybe it's a good thing that she's there, but they really are just gonna get to the table and come to some sort of agreement. They don't want to go to trial with this. They don't want to be exchanging no discovery like that. And if they do exchange discovery, they don't want it to be public information. They're gonna be some NDA signed when this deal is done, because the NFL they can't they cannot pass the smell test on this case, and they know it. They know it. They know what he said is all that is for real. So then they don't want this going to trial.
Oh yeah, I mean, he unloaded the pistol when he talked about.
He came out.
And mind you, the hot Scotch bonnet pepper that he came out with
was spicy.
It was spicy, but that was just the tip of the iceberg, because he's not gonna show his whole hand.
Okay? It was hot.
It was hot. I was hot, girl. I was drenched, in sweat.
It was hot. It was spicy hot and just fire hot, flaming hot. It was burning
all day.
You was getting burned all kind of ways.
I'm gonna ask you a question. I'm gonna push the envelope a little bit, co-host. What do you say to some of our family that feel like, well, yeah, he got a whole, all white, attorneys and whatever, because he needs to use, those people know what those people are thinking. So you got to get the person that know what the people thinking, so you can really use your strategy, so you can go against those, talking about whites against, whites against whites, or whatever in the cases. What do you say to family members that think like that?
So I don't understand what none of that. I guess I want to say I understand what that means, but the point about this is a case about like money and power, right? That white people don't own money and power. Like that's not a mentality that's unique to them, right? And when you subscribe a mentality that subscribe that mentality and make it unique to them, that takes away from the fact that we have black people or anybody else besides white men that have money and power in the United States. One of the things that we tend to not always. So oftentimes conversations are minimized in some way, and they make it about race, right? And some of those conversations, the real essence of what's going on is not about race. It's really about class. It's really about class. This is like a money thing. So to suggest that there's not any black folk black attorneys that have the capacity, the intellectual ability, the skill set, or whatever to go against the NFL is extremely that minimizes black people as a whole. It minimizes like black attorneys. I mean, it's just like that. It just makes no sense, because it's not about another white person needs to know how a white person think in order to beat the NFL. No, the NFL is like, I was going to curse, but I don't want to. The NFL is wrong on this, right? Like this is one of those things where I'm glad Brian Flores had the balls to file this lawsuit, because it probably should have been filed a long time ago, right? So the record is clear that the NFL is completely like they're the way their system is set up, it is for the benefit of white men. Period, right? They know they can't pass the smell test on that. So you don't necessarily need a white attorney to point that out. You know what I'm saying? You don't need that. And I don't, and this whole thing like, oh, he needs white attorneys to fight the NFL. No, you just need somebody who understand the law, who understand power, who understand those types of things in order for them to fight that lawsuit. That, to me, that right there is like, again, they don't want that going to trial. Like, they do not. And if they do, I don't know, they really ain't thinking straight, because there's no way they can say, oh no, what was said and that is not true. Now, the only thing that they may really be able, not the only thing, but one of the things that they may be able to contest is like whether or not, you know, Stephen Ross really did offer Brian Flores money to lose games and stuff like that. That's going to come down to a credibility issue. Stephen Ross is not going to admit to that, because that's actually a federal offense, and he ain't trying to go admit into, he's never going to admit that he said that, because it'll be a federal offense. Now, whether or not Brian got some receipts and be like, oh, heck yeah, he did, that's another story, and he doesn't necessarily have to put, you know, show his hand like so soon. But at the end of the day, the NFL, I mean, you don't need no white boys to win this lawsuit, because the NFL is they I mean, the proof is in the pudding.
Listen, I'm glad that you explained that, because I think it's important that we learn as a people that we should not subscribe to the thought that white man or white woman attorneys are better equipped to deal with our issues on a higher level rather than us. So I'm glad
those things are not about race. I mean, for a long time, the NFL said black men couldn't be quarterbacks, like, because they don't have the intellectual ability to think through a game. What the, you know what I'm saying? Like, please, you know, so all that, oh, like you need a white team to go against white men. No. You need someone who understands the law. Anybody who could read and figure out statute. They got to collect. They have a agreement. They got that Rooney Rule. They have all of these cases where the NFL is supposed to behave some way. You get the data and you look at it and be like, okay, y'all supposed to be doing this. Are you guys doing this? Like, what race got to do with that? You know what I mean? And I will never take away from the intellectual ability of anybody black. I mean, I would say people of color, but we're talking about black people right now.
Yeah, we're talking about black people.
I'm not diminishing the intellectual abilities of nobody black.
Yes, nobody black.
Period.
And the reason why I just want sort of disclaimer. I want to talk about black people and black issues, because I believe, you know, other people of color are advocating for themselves just as much as we are. And I don't feel any type of way when I'm saying I'm talking about black people and black.
And sometimes people of color are not on our side.
Not all of them.
No, I mean, we just saw an Asian judge give this Kim Potter 2 years instead of the 7 that the guidelines said she should have gotten.
And when she was reading it, it was like she was reading it almost as a whisper, as if we weren't going to hear.
You know, that judge had an old messed up voice. So anyway, kind of, and the mom of Dante Wright, which I think his mother's white, she basically said this judge fell for the white woman tears when she, you know, she sentenced this woman to 2 years when her minimum, the guideline says she should have gotten 7. And that's a person of color.
Yep, absolutely.
That's one of those women of color. She wasn't thinking about no black people in that particular instance. Or that boy's white mama.
I'm being very intentional when I say black people, black people's issues, black folk, okay? Because other people of color, you all advocate for yourselves, and that's great. And some of you not for us, and that's okay too. But I'm just gonna keep that same energy. So I just had to preface that. So you know, I know you used to hear me say people of color, but I'm being very.
Well, sometimes you know you want to say that, but in some instances, no, we just need some black people up in there.
That's all. Just like how we need our black Supreme Court justice woman,
black female Supreme Court.
Where is she? What we doing? I mean, the list is beautiful. I wish that we can get all of them. I wish we didn't just have to pick one, but the list is more than, I mean, those women combined could run this whole country on their own, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. So whichever beautiful Black sister we get, I will be happy with. So, he's taking too long.
And she don't got to be exceptional. She already is exceptional, but you know what I'm saying? These whole idea of these people like she needs to be exceptional. I don't know what that means.
What state was that senator from?
Alaska.
So it's the senator for Alaska for me. When she said exceptional 3 times in a comment, she would vote for a Black female Supreme Court justice if she's exceptional this and exceptional that. I'm like, we are extraordinary. We got to be exceptional too. Like, ma'am, it's the exceptional for me.
And the fact that a mediocre person is trying to talk about an exceptional person. Somebody
I had a conversation with Sandra, and she was hot. Okay, yes, she was like, what was his name again? Kavanaugh. Like, mediocre Kavanaugh. Mediocre.
if they were at the time that he was appointed on the bench, if they were looking at all qualified candidates, Black, white, male, female, all that, ain't no way in the world Kavanaugh would have been on the top of nobody.
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
That's because he got friends in high and low places. Okay. So
low in between. The devil. I don't know.
He got friends in high and low places. He ain't on the top of list. He shouldn't have ended up on the top of nobody list.
Nobody.
If we were talking about just credentials.
Well, I mean, hey, but and so, we did well, not we, but Trump did get voted in for 4 years, and that was, to me, the bottom.
So I mean, that was,
that
cheated. I mean, there was some Russian interference in the 2016 election. So,
And yeah, we are. If you are wondering, we are keeping tabs on the Ukraine and Russia situation. But listen,
I think Trump just came out and said he support what Russia just did. Can you imagine a former American president?
Can you imagine
with Russia?
But here's the thing.
That's amazing.
The question would be, the question is, what would he have done in this position if he had won a second term?
Let him tell it wouldn't have happened. Or he would have been right next to Russia, bringing in the troops, trying to help them take over the Ukraine. I mean, he'd have been an ally, I guess.
Listen. You see,
I guess he would have been an ally.
It would just be way too much for us to kind of condense and bring to y'all. Like, what you call it is a lot.
I mean, but he stacked the court, but they're ruling against him now. So he rushed and got Amy Coney Barrett up in there, thinking like, he had some friends on the court, and they basically said, okay, bruh, we are going to put out all of the information about you for the January 6th commission. So they turned the information over to the Democrat. All the appeals that he was some of the appeals that he had going, trying to like not release certain information, not to have his children deposed and all of that. The courts are like, yeah, they're gonna have to present themselves.
No, they don't. They said that they're gonna depose the sister, the children. They're gonna depose him. Everybody got to go. And the thing is, when the Twilight Zone started back in 2016, one of the things we talked about, well, not 2016, we were talking in 2020. One of the things we talked about in 2020 or 2019 was all the things that he was getting away with, like all the stuff that he was doing behind the scenes. Oh, and the people.
Well, he wasn't. So it appeared he was getting away with it, but they were all being litigated. Like that was the thing. I'm like, he would say he was doing something. I'm like, that man can't do that. You know what I'm saying? But he would say he could do it. And since most people don't understand like a lot of procedural stuff, I'm like, he said he gonna do it, but he can't do that. And even if he did do it, it's being litigated. Like they're not just gonna let him do this, okay? So that's part of what's going on. So a lot of the litigation is resolving itself right now because the government ain't gonna continue to be fighting stuff that they shouldn't have been fighting in the first place. Because remember, he's no longer in control of the Justice Department. So whatever lawyers he had working on his foolishness, because he pretty much had the Justice Department, who are really the lawyer for the people, being the lawyer for him.
Right.
And since he lost that top job, they don't work for him no more like that.
Yeah.
So a lot of that litigation has just
been
ended.
resolved. So
It's
crazy. What I meant to say, because I forgot about that. But what I meant to say is that all those people who were sticking their neck out for him were all getting jail time, right? And the thing is, even the people from January 6th who are being arrested and charged for their behavior, their insurrect, they were home terrorists. They were sitting there crying on TV, but Mr. President, you said for us to come out there and support you.
He's like, I ain't tell y'all to do that. Where y'all get that from?
It's just a level of disillusion.
Keep me out of y'all shenanigans.
Just a level of disillusion for me.
I don't know what y'all talking. He's like, I don't know what y'all talking about.
Everybody who slightly remotely aligned themselves with him got arrested.
Sure did.
Just got arrested. And I just, man, I can't do that. So that's one thing with him. But let's come back to our bane of existence, the Satan.
Lord, what are you doing now?
Well, I mean, what is he not doing, sis?
Okay, what is he not doing?
What is he not doing? What I can tell you what he's not doing. His damn job. I can tell you that. I can tell you he's not doing his damn job. I can tell you that. I mean, what governor is allowing $200 million from school districts, taking them away as a form of punishment? My thing is, are you punishing? Who are you punishing when you take?
So is he doing that though, or was he thinking about doing that and he can't do that?
Well, he can't. So it's the Florida legislators who are doing it, right? So at first he was like, well, we shouldn't be doing that, taking money from the schools. Maybe we could do something else. And they basically told him, you the governor. You don't get a say. They basically said, you don't get a say, honey. You sir, you over here, we over here. This is what we do. Okay. It's going through committee. It don't pass the first committee. We got to get a second committee and whatever. And it's going to be legislation. It's going to be a bill. So you go on and do whatever it is that you do. Mind you, this is a Republican-led legislator, House and Senate. Okay. They basically told him, yeah, we're going to do what we do. So while there was some pushback from him, he really has no say on how that rolls. And it looks like it will pass, where they're going to take $200 million from, I believe, a total of, I think I had written down the school districts. And Broward is one, so we're affected, definitely. And he's basically taking money from all these districts as a form, well, not him, but his legislators taking money from the districts as a form of punishment. My question to the Florida legislators is, who you think you punishing? Who are you punishing? Who at the end of the day suffers from all of that? Do you think the school board members suffer when you take away money like that from their district? Do you think that is a concern from them for them? Yes, but not for them personally. So who do you think suffers? So you to prove a point, the Florida legislator, that is, I'm calling them out. To prove a point, you're going to make, I believe it's about 10 counties suffer, school boards suffer, make children suffer. You're taking away money from kids.
Yeah,
because taking resources away from children. So you prove a point as a form of punishment. So you're punishing children because adults were acting in the best interest of children. That's what we're doing. That is what your Florida legislators are doing. I'm just telling you, that's what they're doing. This is the reason why you have to participate and get involved. Voting, learning about your local elected officials.
Be careful who you give power to.
Who you give power to. This is the reason why.
Is it? Be careful who you give power to, because some people don't know how to use it and they abuse it.
And here we are. We're sitting here. We're on the cusp, the precipice of them taking funding away from schools that will that will detrimentally affect children. Resources that kids need. That's what your Florida legislator, these are the people you've elected to represent you. Just so you know. This is why we push the fact that your vote matters. It matters. Clearly it does, because if you look at the last few elections that we've been talking about, these people or these candidates have won on 5 votes. We're talking about the general election with the president. How many votes did he win by? It was very slight. He was about what? I don't know. Was it 180,000? What? No, it was like 500 and some odd thousand votes.
What are you talking about? The last president, 2020 president? No. That was not 500,000. That was like almost a 3 million vote.
Okay, well, but still,
not a presidential election.
Yeah, but 3 million in the big scheme of things, it's still like.
Well, so people would think that 45 shouldn't have got that many votes because he was so terrible at his job, right? But the fact that it took all of that to beat him is that's
a big thing. That's a big deal. And it's a big deal also because
I'm one of those people who think he cheated. That's why he's so shocked he lost. He's like, what you mean? How I lose and I cheated? That's why I think he was talking about the big lie, because he's notorious for projecting. He's notorious for projecting.
Yes, he is. That night when it was all said and done, I said, you know what? He gonna come out here and act like for the next 2 weeks after the election, he was still acting like he was
no, he's still acting like he's president. So I live in Miramar, right? And there's a sign on I-7 because apparently he's coming here. He's gonna be in South Florida doing something, right? And the sign says President Donald Trump. And whatever, I think it's in March or something, he's coming to South Florida. He's about to do something. And the sign literally says President Donald Trump. It doesn't say former president. It don't say 45th president. It don't say none of that. That thing say President Donald Trump on the sign that's off I-75. Because he's going to be here for something. No, I don't remember the date. Don't even ask me the location because I'm not going to promote the event. But it says President Donald Trump, and the man ain't the president.
I can't remember if I said it to you or if we were saying in passing. I said I believe he cheated, and I think he's gonna keep thinking that he's going to win somehow, some way because he cheated. Because I think
he's surprised he lost because he cheated. He's like, how I cheat and still lose. That's just my thought.
I'm just saying,
that's just my opinion.
Listen. I'm just saying. Your vote matters. Your vote's your
because if it didn't, they wouldn't be doing all of these voting rights bill that's trying to disenfranchise your vote.
You're the ones who sit back and be like, I ain't doing it. Y'all go ahead, thing or whatever.
It matters because when you
trust and believe, you hurt the rest of us. Okay.
Yes, and when you don't do it, you're creating space for somebody that's not worthy to get in.
Listen, we don't make the rules. This is what it is. What we're saying is true and factual. You don't vote, guess what? I'm just saying. And I'm reached to the point where I'm just gonna keep pushing. You all need to get part of the don't be part of the problem, be part of the solution. Get registered to vote like your life depended on it, because I'm telling you, it literally does. Because if we were sitting and then we were in a Andrew Gillum administration, believe you me,
it'd be different.
It'll be a totally different story.
It'd be different. It would have been different.
He doesn't come with his own faults. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that Florida would be in a better position in terms of COVID, in terms of how the schools are running, okay, in terms of resources, in terms of
protest bill,
in terms of using funds from
SB 90, HB1, none of that stuff would have been going on.
In terms of using the federal funds that was provided to us by
to try to pass legislation to have a voting police force. Like they want to have a police department. Now they're trying to fund this, right? They're trying to fund a police department that's going to be supervising elections or whatever. Like, you need police for that? That's a voter intimidation.
So that $200 million that's being deducted from these school boards, guess where that money goes?
They want to fund that.
Hey, I'm not even making that.
Where's the
banner with the email address? Where's the banner with the email address? Not the email address, but the website address. There you go. Go on there, www.floridachannel.org. Don't take our word for it. There's a whole recording on what they're trying to do. I'm just saying, y'all need to listen. This ain't no joke. We're not joking about that. This is serious. So they're taking money from schools so you can get a.
They're trying to take money from schools to fund.
Well, it's passed. Well, I just want to be out. It passed one committee, so the lower committee. Now it's going to the higher committee. It's a Florida. It's a Republican-led legislator. It's almost guaranteed to pass. And believe me, the Democratic representative up there are really doing their best to kind of combat that, but we don't have the numbers, and it is what it is. So I'm just saying, y'all sitting here joking. This is serious around here. All right, co-hosts.
All right.
So I do have a book of the week, and I put it in the chat, so I'm gonna post it up here. I thought this was I just got it. I started to read it. Very interesting. It's called Why Are the Black Kids Sitting Together in the Cafeteria? And Other Conversations About Race by author Beverly Daniel Tatum. Is it Tatum or Tatum? Tatum. Listen, we try to come up with books for you all to read. You don't have to necessarily read it in your hand. Sandra has made sure you all can do audible reading, has said that audible reading is the best thing since sliced bread, where you're able to hear your books. So you can do that audible reading as well. I think you can do that through
it's Audible. It's an app. It's an app called
Audible Reading. See, download it on your phone. And you can hear these books. I'm telling you, you know, what's that saying that you tell kids? What is it? Reading is fundamental. What is it? I forgot.
Reading is fundamental.
Yeah, reading is fundamental. You'll be surprised how much information is out there. I try to get my kids to read books like these and get into stuff like that, because everything, things at school is not everything that they need to be able to use and understand the world. I give them extra stuff. We talk. Sandra does the same thing. Try to talk to her kids, show her kids other things other than what's going on in school. I think this is a great read, especially now that, you know, critical race theory is getting all this hype, especially from our governor. With his woke legislation and his CRT, you know, he got a whole goon squad for CRT that's not even being taught in schools. But okay, that's my thing. He's doing everything but his job. Okay, I'll just leave it there. So this is a great book. I strongly urge you all to read it. I just started. It's fascinating, and it's something that it's a great conversational piece. You can have conversations with people and get feedback. So we like to give you guys books of the week. I'm pretty sure you can't read it all in a week or hear it all in a week, but
it depends on how much time you spend in the car and how many hours is it? Because I've had like 7 8-hour books that I've been able to listen to in a week because I spend an hour each way in the car.
That's true.
It depends.
Depends. You're right. That's true.
That you know,
instead of you listening to the radio, you can listen to a great book.
That's what I do. Yeah. I mean, one of the books, like Becoming, was like, I think that book was like 19 hours or something. So that took me like, you know, several weeks, almost like a month to finish listen to, because it was just so long. But if you have one of the ones that are like 6, 8, you know, maybe even 10 hours, you can very well like listen to it in a week.
And these are great books, great to stimulate your mind, stimulate your conversations with other people, and, you know, learn more about us. And about, you know, where we come from, what we've been doing and what we're doing now, what we've been doing since. It's always important that we keep that alive, especially during Black History Month, because, you know, they give us this it's Black History 365 24/7 for me. But, you know, they want to give you they give us a month that we didn't ask for, but okay.
I'm interested in listening to what her take is on that particular book, because I went to a predominantly white institution and we had a Black table in the cafeteria at my university. So I want to see what she said about that. And that was by choice. We chose to sit together. You know,
I'm glad you mentioned that, because
I would like to read it just to see.
It wasn't a segregation. It wasn't a segregation.
No. They didn't put us. No, we sat together at lunchtime by choice because we were a lot of us lived in different dorms on campus, and lunchtime and lunch and dinner was pretty much the only time that most of us would be together. So we would go to lunch and dinner around a particular time, and we all sat at a table in that dining hall. There were I think it was three main dining halls on campus. It might have been more, but I'm thinking I could think of three off the top of my head, and they kind of all had their black table, So,
well, if somebody other than black people came,
they knew not to sit there. I'm just saying.
What if somebody brought somebody to the table?
They weren't going to do that because that was not the time for that.
I love it.
There was an unwritten code about like what this was about. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So no, there was no invitations. And everybody else knew that. No, not today. We'll see you in class or somewhere else, but not here. Yeah. That was us to just be black for a minute.
Decompress.
Like
bits to each other. I got a Peloton and Sandra got a Peloton, and we were on this Peloton group. And she invited me to the group, and she's like, "Oh, you're gonna love this group or whatever." And can I tell you, it's like I love it there.
Yes, I love it there.
When I tell you I love it there, we go on that group, and it's called Black Girl Magic, and we're on.
It's two of them. It's black Peloton riders and Black Girl Magic.
It's all for us. When I say it's all us,
the camaraderie is amazing. No, and this for the motivation and everything, right? There's a lot of people of color, a lot of black folks that's getting their body rights. You know what I mean? Like we've had some terrible eating habits and all kinds of stuff. We're thinking, it's all good to be thick all the time, and they're like, no, you better tighten up. And so we're tightening up.
And they allow us to vent to a certain extent, and
respectfully.
Yes,
respectfully.
That venting comes with a support system out of this world. When I say support, but the moderator,
those queens got me waking up at 5 a.m. riding my bike. I was like, what?
Not me.
I mean, someone now it'd be like 6:30 or 7 o'clock, but they still got me waking up early in the morning riding my bike. So
the motivation on there and there's no shaming. There's no, and then the vernacular, because it's us. We understand what somebody's talking about. We like, oh, yeah, girl, we know. You ain't got
for the culture.
It's for the culture, honey. So I love us with every fiber of my being. And I'm telling you, it's nothing like being in a space where you can be able to sit and vent and not feel and just be yourself. So
and people understand and can relate to your experience. They can relate to your experience.
So I totally understand having that black table sitting with the rest of the people in college, because hey, this is where you go to be.
We needed that time, y'all. We needed that time. Shoot, we're around y'all every day. God, just give us these 45 minutes to an hour.
For a minute. We just need to be together.
We just need that
for a minute.
We need that.
Let me tell you something. It's nothing like stepping into a black area with black people with a black room.
We needed it. We needed it.
Yes. It's just like, I just girl, you all you have to say when you get into a room full of black people.
Sometimes you ain't got to say nothing. They know that look.
You just walking like, ooh, girl.
They understand that look of exhaustion.
It's me saying, ooh, girl. They be like, yeah, girl, we already know.
We already know. You had to explain your hair again. Right? You had to explain why your hair do that.
Not only that, you get braids. They're like, girl, did she try to touch it?
You understand? You got to explain your hair again. Why do your hair do that?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just saying. Oh, we will. I'm gonna be finding the information. I did send. I tagged Sandra on something where this girl said she was in a class and she was the only black person in her criminal justice class. Sandra says, I don't believe it.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I need some further details. Yeah, we need further. I'm not saying it's not possible. I just don't believe it. I want to know what school she go to.
Right. So we're not the only black person in anything. However, there's still.
I mean, no, there's still some situations where we could be the only black person in something. I just don't know if this girl was the only black student in a criminal justice class. That's the part I can't believe. I mean, I teach CJ. I can't imagine. I just don't. But I mean, I'm not saying it's not true. I have some questions.
Yeah,
I just have some questions because I don't.
Well, the conversation piece about that is what they talked about, something to the effect of, what if the police comes to the wrong house and stuff like that, what happens and stuff like that. And so her comment was, there was 2 white girls behind her, and the 2 white girls says, well, that only happens to black people.
I mean, them 2 white girls could have said that. I just don't know if they said that in a criminal justice class where she was the only black person in it. That's just, I'm not saying that them girls probably didn't say that. I just don't know if they said that in the CJ class. Now, maybe that was the day where none of the other black students showed up in class, but I just can't imagine she was the only black student in the CJ class.
So she made that, and
I have a hard time believing that.
This was posted as a conversational piece. So then they proceeded to touch her on her shoulder and tell her that they liked her hair. And I'm not sure.
That's that hair conversation. That's why you need to be at the black table so people can understand what it's like for people to be talking to you about your hair.
My daughter's been going through some things when she puts her hair in these little puff balls, and these kids be they don't even say, "Can I touch your hair?" They go to reach out, and she has to kind of back away. I need white people to tell their children that people need to understand personal space.
Don't touch no black girl hair. Are you kidding me?
People have personal space. Y'all the ones talk about personal space all the time. Like, your kids don't know about personal space, especially with black people. Like, so we don't get personal space. I'm gonna need y'all to stop touching my baby's hair. She don't like it.
Period.
Don't like it. Don't do it. When she backs away, she tells you don't do it. Don't continue to proceed to try to touch her hair. She don't want you to. I mean,
don't act. What's the big deal? Because if she's telling you no, no means no, right?
Does no mean no for us, or does no mean no for them?
No means no.
I'm just asking. All right. So listen, we're still in the pandemic. I just got reports this morning that the BA2, I guess the second split of Omicron, scientists have been studying it. They said it's worse than the Omicron we had. However, there's some mitigating circumstances that doesn't allow it to be as wreak havoc as it would, as
Omicron did.
As Omicron did or whatever, but they said it's worse, and they said that they're still watching it. They're not in panic mode yet. They're still watching it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're still in the pandemic. For those of you who feel like y'all can just walk without your mask,
it's a whole bunch of people doing it.
All I'm saying,
I've been in some spaces, I'm like, it's still a pandemic, right? And I went to a place today, and the lady had the mask on, and I went up to ask a question, then she pulled the mask down. I'm like, chick, you supposed to keep the mask on when you asking me, when you talking. Like, take it off when you just sitting by yourself, ain't talking to nobody. But when you start running your mouth, you supposed to have your mask on. I was like, oh my God.
I've turned into a mask police. I'm turning into a mask police, but I'm very polite about it. So if, like, today I went to Panera and I ordered something, and then the girl, like, her mask was like here, I said, can you put your mask over your nose before you take my order, please? Because can you just do that? Very nice. And she was like, oh, sorry. I'm just a mask. When you come to, don't talk to me and you don't have your mask on. Like, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. COVID ain't nothing nice. It's nothing nice. It's nothing nice. Nothing nice at all. So please. Oh, and then the numbers. COVID numbers in terms of vaccine has dropped considerably in the state of Florida. Last week, they counted 35,000 vaccines for the entire state. Okay. 10,000 of them were people who were taking their very first shot. Just so you know, there's still 5 million people in Florida that have not been vaccinated.
That's a lot of people. Because I think it's 22 million people in the state. I mean, I guess it's good that 17 million of them is vaccinated.
Maybe she meant 5 million people in total that got vaccinated.
That got vaccinated, and there's 17 million unvaccinated Floridians. Oh, Lord. Damn. Okay.
I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying, listen.
That's like
all I'm saying is we're not out the woods yet. I would love to kind of peek through the branches and see the open plains, but we're not there yet. So I'm just asking that you all continue to wear your mask, social distance when possible, please. Wash your hands. Tell your babies to wash their hands. And just like keep safe, because we got to do this together. We just can't do it by ourselves. I'm just that's just my thing. So that's my final thought. Your final thought, co-host?
Darryl Campbell, let me know what's going on with the lotto money for the education.
A lot of money last week.
Since these people are talking about they finna try to take some money from Broward County Public Schools, because whatever this $200 million, I believe Broward County is one of the counties that will be impacted by that. Yep. So if they're trying to take that money, tell them to tell us what's up with the lotto money.
Yeah, I thought about that. I thought about that last week when I saw this $200 million conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Dad, didn't we? I said, who did we? And my mom said, didn't we ask somebody about the lotto money?
It was
Darryl. Darryl. We do have a election coming up. I believe we are
March 8th.
voting. We're already in early voting, I believe. I think early voting started February 17th, I want to say, for District 33, which is two candidates. You have Dr. Rosalynn Osgood as well as John Carter. Dr. Rosalynn Osgood is the Democratic candidate. John Carter is the Republican candidate. They're running to replace Perry Thurston. That election will happen March 8th. I believe early voting has begun. And if you are in that district, please mail in your ballots. We see that mailing in your ballots is a new alternative. Well, not new, but is an alternative way to vote. And it's been widely popular now since we are in the pandemic. So we encourage you to please vote. Even though this is a special election, the last two elections were special and the turnout was abysmal at best. And we want you all to know that it's very, very important that you vote. Voting is a superpower. It is your right. And we ask and implore you that you participate in this special election. And we're looking forward to seeing who will be the representative for District 33. And whoever that representative is, we're asking that you look for that lotto money too, because
what's up with the lotto money?
Apparently, Broward County School Board will be lighter this coming fiscal year, and we need some monies to replenish what is being taken away from the children as a form of punishment, because teachers and school board members decided they were going to put people over politics. Okie dokie. So we'll see you all next week. We do have some candidates who are going to be running for the school board. Broward Commission. Broward Commission has changed a little bit in terms of the maps. We got to get that information so we can share it with you. But what we've heard is those who were appointed by the governor must now run for office in August. Apparently, they read the charter incorrectly. And so they were appointed just for that time, but they will be, those who are up for re-election will be running if they, they can choose to run. And I'm not sure if the ones that were appointed will run, but they have to run for the office in order to stay or retain it. So we hopefully will be coming back next week with that information for you all, so you can know who's running, what seat goes where, because there have been some shifts since the map has been changed a bit, and we can discuss that further. Again, local elections matter. Local elected officials make decisions for your everyday life. Sandra was the one that pointed that out to me, and that's something that I've kept talking about and will continue to talk about. So we want to make sure that we get the right people into place to make sure that Broward County is Broward County strong. All right. So We'll see you all next week, God willing. But in the meantime, in between time, Black people, you have enough in your arsenal not to allow people to be passing their place with you no more. Okay, we don't do that. All we want around here is change behavior. We don't want no more apologies. Okay, I'm tired of changing. I'm tired of switching my cheeks from side to side.
Nope.
I'm fatigued.
Action speaks louder than words, y'all.
Y'all do. So I'm looking for change behavior, not apologies. So any last words, co-host?
No, that's it. I said my last word.
All right. Daryl, we want that. We need the money. We will find out what a lot of money at, child.
A lot of money, bro.
We're gonna need it, Lord.
Yes,
All
we
right.
do.
Peace out, people. Until next week.
Have a good one.